We have new information on the I-95 collapse in just a moment. But first, storms are moving through our area right now. Good evening. I'm Jessica Kartalija.
And I'm Yuki Washington. Much needed rain is falling in many places, but there's a possibility for severe weather.
And neighbors living in the blocks around the Tacony collapse site say that it's not just the rush hour that concerns them. They are seeing traffic trouble all day. Throughout today, only local traffic was able to get through the streets near the collapse site, and it often looked just like this. Drivers trying to make U-turns, trying to figure out where exactly they're going. Luke Stasky lives off of Princeton Avenue and says traffic on the main roads, Frankfort and Torresdale, has already spiked. He's concerned now about how the smaller streets like his will handle more cars, trucks, and construction vehicles in the months to come.
And welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona. Don Bell alongside Jessica Kartalija. We are at the NFL Honors Ceremony. We are actually physically standing on the red carpet. On this night, it's pretty special for a lot of NFL players because they tend to hand out all these awards that guys have been working pretty much their entire lives for.
Right, MVP, we're talking about Coaches Awards. Lots of big celebrities are going to be here today.
That's right.
Philly's own Meek Mill, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Tiffany Haddish, Terry Bradshaw coming down, our own Nate Burleson, CBS Mornings. It's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night indeed. And of course, we continue our Super Bowl coverage here as we lead up to Super Bowl 57.
Now, even though the Eagles are playing in the Super Bowl thousands of miles from home, there's still a lot of Philadelphia pride surfacing out west here in the desert.
Yeah, if you're an Eagles fan living in Arizona, the Rock Bar in Scottsdale is the place to be on game day. We caught up with several Philly natives who now call the desert home. They say they love coming here to watch the birds. And when you walk into this bar, you actually forget that you're not in Philly.
You walk through that door on game day, close your eyes, you swear you're at a corner bar in South Philadelphia. And that was what I was hoping for. That's what I wanted. Come in here for 4 hours on game day, forget about the world, come back out here and just enjoy whatever's going on out there. It'll be waiting for you when you get there. Come in here, have some beers, just lose your mind with a whole bunch of Eagle fans. I'm telling you, there's a lot of them out here.
That bar is a whole vibe. And I have to tell you, friends from Philly who now live in Arizona say they watch every game at that bar. And it was, you felt like you were in Philadelphia. It was just a little bit warmer.
That's the place to be.
From the main line to South Jersey and down the shore, our entire viewing area shrouded in toxic Canadian wildfire smoke.
When I got back from school, my head was hurting.
The thick haze is causing headaches, irritating eyes, and making it hard for many to breathe.
Any of us can have bad effects from this type of an exposure.
And it's going to get worse before it gets better. Good evening, I'm Jessica Kartalija. Another day of dangerous smoke-filled skies. For the past 2 hours, we have been giving you the information that you need to keep your family safe. And as we get into the evening, conditions are worsening. The air quality alert is now at a code purple. Looking live outside, visibility is very low. Many outdoor activities are being postponed, including tonight's Phillies game against the Tigers. It's too dangerous for even professional athletes to be outside. Some perspective now from Chopper 3. This video was shot over the Northeast around noon today. You can barely make out the Delaware River or Betsy Ross Bridge. Our chopper can't fly right now because of the conditions, but we have been recording our roof cam since 4 o'clock. This time lapse shows just how the smoke has thickened in the past 2 hours. The city is starting to appear orange. And also on tap this weekend, it's the last 2 days of Philly Beer Week. The 10-day citywide festival ends on Sunday. Breweries and restaurants throughout the region have been hosting events like beer pairing dinners and happy hours. Beer Week started back in 2008. Cheers to that.
Cheers for sure.
Cheers to everything moving out, finally.
You know, we say 3 days we had to be cooped up inside, but it seemed like a lot longer than that.
Right. And after COVID, everything seems like we can handle anything at this point. But yeah, thank goodness. Just in time for the weekend.
Yeah, really. The timing couldn't have been more perfect.
The Red Hot Phillies, I was going to say Red Hot Philly Peppers, continue their homestand tonight.
That's good.
We should coin that phrase.
You know what? I hope nobody's really paying attention. We get T-shirts made. Go down there and sell them at the ballpark.
Red Hot Philly Peppers.
Don't tell anybody.
Happening now in Southwest Philly, a big problem for pedestrians. A hole in a bridge that people walk over, including young children. You can see that gaping hole, and if you were to look right through it, you would see the railroad tracks below. As Mapatrillo reports, it is a big concern with many young students getting on and off the bus here who could find themselves caught in that hole. Water woes. Several communities in New Jersey have low to no water pressure. The reason for the issue and how long it will take to fix.
And Philly's got it going on. The Roots Picnic, Pride Weekend, and so much more. A huge lineup of events in the city means a big boom for local businesses. But we began with storms and downpours, and a big drop in temperature has come along for the ride. Good evening, everyone. I'm Yuki Washington.
I'm Jessica Kartalija. Today was the hottest day of the year so far, with temperatures surging into the 90s. And this evening, the skies opened up, bringing some parts of the region much needed rain. But it caused slow going on the roads. This video taken by our CBS News Philadelphia crew as they drove along Kelly Drive. Ocean City officials say that Memorial Day weekend was too rowdy on the beach and the boardwalk, and now they're cracking down. This is a live picture of a much quieter boardwalk tonight. Officials are putting teenagers and their parents on notice. CBS News Philadelphia's Siafa Lewis has more. On Memorial Day, dozens of residents in Easton were displaced after a fire tore through an entire block of row houses. Officials say it started as a house fire in one of the homes on 9th and Ferry Street, but quickly spread, impacting at least 15 buildings. Everyone made it out safely. However, Red Cross volunteers estimate at least 60 people are displaced. Some lost everything. Others are hoping to find some of their belongings as they sift through the ashes.
All these buildings were built in 1900. There's no firewalls, and it's all balloon frame construction.
In this situation, we're looking at probably 14 to 16 homes where no one's going to be able to move back in.
It's depressing to know that you're losing the stuff that you put your hard-earned money in and but I got my health.
The Red Cross has set up a shelter at Paxenosa Elementary, where they're working to provide financial assistance and resources. As we continue tonight, an urgent search for more survivors. All right, Bill, thanks. We're staying on top of breaking news out of Jackson Township, Ocean County, where, as you see, this wildfire is growing. The fire has burned at least 15 acres. It is not at all contained. 30 nearby buildings are being threatened by these flames. You are looking live now from Chopper 3, and we are going to stay on top of this for you. We are told that officials will give an update on the firefight right around 7 o'clock. Now, all this dry weather that we've had is really creating some dangerous conditions out there. Hot spots flared up today from a weekend wildfire in South Jersey. CBS News Philadelphia reporter Nikki Dementri caught up with firefighters and concerned residents today. Right now at 6, a hidden danger in the grocery store. Items are pulled off of store shelves after a teenage worker is accused of messing with the food. Good evening, I'm Jessica Kartalija. Yuki is on assignment. If you shop at a certain store, you need to check your groceries very carefully. An employee is accused of putting sewing needles inside of some items. Pennsylvania State Police are investigating the situation at the Giant store in Lower Macungie. That's in Lehigh County. CBS News Philadelphia reporter Dan Snyder is live outside of that store where he spoke with some concerned shoppers. Dan, thank you. We are working to learn what led up to a deadly shooting in Grays Ferry where a young teenager lost his life. It happened on the 5300 block of Grays Avenue. A 16-year-old was shot twice in his head. Police searched a house where they believe those shots came from. So far, no arrests have been made. A man who spent the last 3 years building an organization to help the homeless is now picking up the pieces after an early morning fire. This building on Estee Street in Southwest Philadelphia served as transitional housing. We spoke to a woman who lived there. She came back this afternoon to see what was left. No one was injured in that fire. The Red Cross is assisting people who used to live there. In Montgomery County, a woman is dead after a house fire in Narberth. This fire broke out around 3:30 this morning on Hamden Avenue. 66-year-old Deborah DeMeo was killed. The fire marshal, as well as Narberth and Lower Merion police departments, are now investigating. And a perfect day for it. And tomorrow looks even better.
Yeah, it's a good one to get outside.
Oh, I love it. This
Dry.
week is good.
Yeah, fire up the grill.
Yeah.
Spend some time with friends and
Let's
family.
go. Is that an invite?
It sure is.
Okay, cool.
You bring the stuff, we'll fire it up. Yeah,
done.
Absolutely.
Kensington has been plagued by an opioid crisis for years. Now, another drug on our streets is making a devastating situation catastrophic. According to a medical toxicologist at Temple, a veterinary sedative called xylazine can be found in 90% of Philadelphia's dope supply. The video you're about to see is hard to watch.
Their children are walking amongst this.
When it comes to Pennsylvania's opioid epidemic, Kensington is ground zero.
The streets are lined with garbage. You can smell infection, and there are hundreds of unhoused individuals without access to public restrooms or showers or housing. And it's sad.
Now, a powerful sedative is seeping into more than 90% of Philadelphia's dope supply. Xylazine is a legally sold horse tranquilizer. It's cheap, easy to get, and it's being mixed with fentanyl and heroin. On the street, it's known as trank, and people with substance abuse disorders often don't realize that they've used it until their skin literally begins to decompose.
You can just walk out into Kensington Avenue and you can smell the rotting flesh. It's awful.
Sarah Laurel is recovering from substance abuse disorder. Her organization, Savage Sisters, helps those suffering with addiction. She's been sounding the alarm on xylazine for 3 years.
The only thing I can say is because we're boots on the ground here in Kensington, we're dealing with it every day. We see the impact that it's having, and we need to see a little bit more progression with the response.
Dr. Joseph DeRazio is Director of Medical Toxicology and Addiction Medicine at Temple Health. He says they've become the epicenter of the xylazine crisis due to their close proximity to Kensington.
You know, at any one point in time, we probably have 50 patients in the hospital that have complications, serious complications from injection drug use. And so you get to think that all 50 of those patients have been exposed to xylazine.
Why is xylazine leading to this necrosis or the death of body tissue?
Are some things that are unknown at this point in time. You know, we see sometimes that people are getting wounds at areas that they're not injecting, so maybe it's not such a local effect, it could be a systemic effect. Vascular effects with this drug, it probably have 15 patients in the hospital who have severe wounds that we're trying to treat.
Xylazine can knock a person out for 3 to 5 days, and because it's not an opioid, drugs like Narcan don't effectively reverse an overdose.
The Narcan works on the part that's fentanyl there, and then we use the oxygen tanks for the respiratory depression that is caused by the xylazine.
At the Savage Sisters headquarters in Kensington, they regularly see the ravaging effect of these drugs. Does anything surprise you when people walk through these doors?
No. No, we have a gentleman that comes in here and has been coming in every day who has a gaping flesh wound across his chest right next to his heart.
Honey, what's your name? Once a week, she and a team of volunteer nurses hit the streets.
They'll wrap the wounds, they'll clean them out, give them their own take-home kits so that they can rewrap, and so we do what we can, but it is a Band-Aid on a bullet hole.
Since xylazine isn't intended for humans, it falls into a gray area. And at this point, it's not a controlled substance. But we've learned the DEA is well aware of xylazine. They recently released a nationwide report about the dangers when it's combined with illicit drugs.
This is kind of like how it's healed. It just heals like a burn. But yeah, this was like all open.
Recovering herself, Melanie Bettis works at Savage Sisters.
Did you know you were using xylazine? No, absolutely not. I came here because this was the easiest, most convenient open-air drug market, and it was 15 minutes away from where I was raised.
Her story isn't unique.
So here's the thing. The people that we serve in Kensington are not from Kensington. These children that are on the streets that are unhoused are from Delco, Monco, Bucks, Chester. They're from all over the state. They come to Kensington and they get stuck here.
What do parents need to look for?
The wounds start as smallpox. They look almost like picking scabs on people's arms. I would say the urgent cares in the emergency rooms out on the main line need to start looking for those wounds and testing for xylazine.
What is it going to take for hospitals to start testing for xylazine?
Got to be awareness, understanding that it's in our community and affecting people. Currently, the way it stands is we need to send it out to a forensic lab that takes days for us to get a response. And so it's not so helpful at the bedside when we're trying to help patients.
Why are you helping these people?
They're my friends, so. I used to be homeless in Kensington. I do know what it feels like to need a shower, to just need somebody to know my name. I know what that feels like to be invisible.
We researched a well-known lab in Nashville that does test for xylazine, but it can take up to 3 days for results. And as of this broadcast, there are no test strips in use that detect xylazine in a patient immediately. If you or someone you know needs help, we have put the information for Savage Sisters on our website.